money, title, and status will not make you happy. Obviously, I get a lot of people saying that's not true. You say that because you had money, but this is my opinion, and this is how I built my company. And when now I am in a room with investors or business owners, and I say I'm a coach, this is what I do because I believe in what I say. I'm happy. I'm at
but you're
peace.
passionate. There's energy flowing from you.
People don't even enjoy it.
You could talk all day here, I think.
Yes, I could. But this is because I've been there, right? And I've had that pain that not a lot of people see when you have sacrificed everything in life just to be where you are, and you're realizing that it's not making you happy, and you have that void inside you that feels like you can't feel that. It's a terrible thing. And I want people to know that they are not alone and that there is a solution.
Thank you for listening to the podcast thus far. The one favor I would ask, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, is to press the follow and subscribe button on whatever media platform you listen to us, as it helps us grow our network and grow the podcast. So thank you and enjoy the podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to Alchemy Uncensored podcast. We're on our third season, and we promise you that we'll bring in more valuable insights into the financial and tax sector of the UAE. Today, we've got Lucie Lichot. Lucie is the founder of Changing Minds, the go-to coaching firm for high-performing executives who feel something is missing despite their external success. A former CFO turned mindset and performance advisor, Lucie built her methodology after personally experiencing the hidden cost of high achievement, burnout, disconnection and emptiness behind the title. Through her authentic performance coaching and CM Academy, Lucie helps global leaders rewire how they think, lead, and live so they can sustain high performance without losing themselves in the process. She's worked with 500 plus leaders across 15 countries and is ranked the #1 LinkedIn creator in personal growth and productivity in the UAE. She brings a bold human perspective to finance, one that goes beyond numbers into mindset, identity, and sustainable success. So Lucie, welcome. Ça va? Conus to talk to. How are you?
What's the crack?
What's the crack?
I'm good, thank you, Connor. How are you?
I'm good. As I was just saying before we started, I am super excited for this episode. I know you don't want the expectations too high, but look, I've been following your content in particular for the last couple of months, and it seems that you really are a thought leader, and you've definitely got a great personality. I've been fortunate to have a few calls with you prior to this, and you're very unique in a great way and from a personality standpoint. But, the thing that really drew me to you from the start, from looking at your LinkedIn profile, was that you actually lived in Ireland.
I did.
And not just Ireland, you lived in Mayo, the west of Ireland.
Yes.
So there's very few people I've met, especially in finance, and to be at CFO level, to be working in Mayo. So again, quite keen just to, give our audience a bit of an introduction, where you're from, where you've got to, and how you've ended from Mayo to Dubai in particular.
Yes, absolutely. So I am French, coming from Clermont-Ferrand, which is a rugby town. Most people know.
The Michelin stadium. Yeah.
That's it. So I've been brought up there in the countryside. So that's why also it's not that different from Mayo. Mm-hmm. Started my career in finance. I loved accounting from a young age. I specialized in accounting. So I thought it was a natural thing to do to go into finance. Went into finance, got my first job in a pharmaceutical company called Laboratoire Théa, specialized in eye care. Great company with great value. So I was very lucky from the beginning to be in a company like that. I evolved from there. And I think they saw that I love the business, not only the finance, but the business side of things. And they offered me the position of the CFO for the Irish subsidiaries, which was very exciting. At that time, I was 26 only. I'd never had any such experience before. So it was super exciting. And I thank them for that because it was a great experience. And went to Mayo. Yeah. So that's how I ended up.
So for our Mayo listeners now, only a few of you.
Oh my God, I still remember the first day we were driving in the dark and it was pouring rain. And I was like, where is this place? We will never, from Dublin to Mayo. No, but seriously, it was amazing. And I always take that example to explain the type of leadership that I have experienced there. When I came the first time to Mayo for my interview, which I thought was going to be an interview, to explain who I am and why can I contribute to that role and why me, because I didn't have any experience as a CFO before. I was super stressed. I was wearing my suit. I reviewed all the questions, be very ready for the interview. And my boss at the time, who is from Mayo, he brought me to Patrick, which is I think you know the Patrick, the mountain. So he walked me there and he didn't ask me any question before, and he was just presenting me the company. And he walked me there and we start walking Patrick. I was literally with my heels, and I thought, what is the thing here? I don't understand what we are doing here. And we saw a old couple going down the mountain, and they start talking to us. Obviously, I didn't understand a word. I didn't understand anything what they were saying. But I was really curious, right? They were very cute. I wanted to learn. I was super excited to be there. So I tried somehow to, with my broken English at the time and still a big French accent, I tried as well to have a conversation with them. Anyway, the conversation stopped there, came back to France, and I was waiting for the answer. My boss accepted my application kind of things. He said, okay, let's bring Lucie there. And maybe 3 months after that, I asked him and I said, I don't understand. Dermot, his name was.
Dermot, yeah.
I don't understand. You never asked me, I never had an interview. And he told me, no, you did. So I said, when? And he said, in the mountain. Because when you saw this couple coming, I saw you were curious. I saw you were having a conversation, even if you didn't understand them. That is what convinced me. And I think that says a lot about the type of leadership that I have experienced. And that's also the leadership that I grew with. He taught me everything that I know now about leadership because he was my boss for 4 years. And because I was very young at the time. So I learned everything from an Irishman, which I respect. And my biggest leadership lesson was in this mountain, that it's not really about only the skills, but it's also about who you are as a person.
As a person, yeah. No, that's great. And so you were in obviously Mayo then for and then you came across to Dubai then?
Exactly. So within the same company, after a while, we brought the business from 1 million to 7.5. I think I did what I had to do there. And as much as I like Ireland, I wanted to expand.
Mayo to Dubai.
Mayo to Dubai. That was a shift, right?
That's what teachers would do.
But it's easier that way than the other way.
I think okay.
So came to Dubai. I already came before. I built the business model here for the subsidiary here. And came here, not because I wanted to have that fast life, because I wanted to, make a ton of money or all of those reasons that sometimes people are attracted to for Dubai, but mostly because it was part of my evolution and I had a bigger team, bigger responsibilities. And that's what I did. Now, when I came here, I was working there maybe for 7 months physically in that office. And we had some reorganization, some things that has happened. And the company wanted me to then go back to France, which I didn't want to. And that's where I resigned the first time from that company. And when I resigned from that company, I think I knew it before, but it was even more obvious that I had nothing exciting me outside my job. It was very difficult for me at that time to realize who I was beyond my job title. And I know we hear that a lot, but that's really how I felt. There was no closing anymore. There was no job, no responsibility. That was really unsettling for me, very difficult. I didn't know what to do with my time. And mostly I realized that I didn't build anything else than a career. And I think that didn't really sit well with me. That's not the type of life that I wanted to have. And despite the fact that I found another job 2 months after, bigger position, bigger salary in another company here in the UAE, it was too late for me. I think I saw the emptiness that I was feeling, the loneliness. And I asked myself, what is the story that I want to say to my children? What is the story that I want to remember when I will be 90 years old? And that's not what I want to see. I don't want to see someone who is exhausted constantly, frustrated, someone who is not passionate. I think you can feel and see I'm a very passionate person. And I refuse to accept that it was either or. Either you're ambitious and driven, either you're fulfilled and happy. So I really started changing mine for that reason. I wanted to find a way for ambitious people to as well enjoy their personal life, as well connect with people, and actually use that as a fuel. not just a good to have. It's really, for me, the fuel and what is going to bring anyone else to their next step in their career. And that's how I found it changing mine for that reason.
Well, you've got Irish slang with what's the story anyway.
So, what's the story? What's the crack, right?
And then just dig into this a bit more then. So was it a case that, you were going through a difficult time yourself and, you rewired yourself, or did you get help with that? Or, to move into the seat you're in today, obviously, was it you personally were feeling these challenges, the emptiness, and then, you've worked on that and now you've set up your own business?
Yeah, I think, I knew that from a long time, but I thought that it was part of the success. So I thought it's normal to be overworked and exhausted constantly. I mean, it's okay to be tired, right? Mostly when we have a lot of projects and stuff to do. But I thought that being exhausted every day was normal.
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Part of the success. You can't have it all. That's what people are telling us. Mostly my mom.
Yeah.
So I tried my best to be grateful with what I had. But when I looked at this beautiful view in front of the Burj Khalifa at the time in my apartment, and I don't know, I didn't feel anything. I wasn't excited by it anymore. And I struggled to connect with people. I was always judging, people and myself. I couldn't sleep well. I was always in control. But the worst in all of that, this was exactly the life that I have created. So it was me not liking the control that I have implemented. I refused a lot of wedding, family dinner, brunches in Dubai or night out, because I really wanted to be on the job constantly, doing more, being the more effective as I can. And I really thought that was the way to do it. So I kind of didn't really look at those feelings until it was the time that I was alone and I didn't have a job. And that's where it really opened my eyes. Yeah,
because I think, look, a lot of our listeners, especially, the guys or women who are in CFO or CEO positions, I imagine a lot of people can relate to this, and because there is a great job title, there looks to be a great life, but the reality is for some of these people there is emptiness, and they don't feel as good as maybe they prescribe to. So I guess digging into this bit more, to give some value to our listeners. If we start off like the real edge in finance, just starting off with that sometimes people view it just as numbers, doing the numbers, the technical side of things, but what sets great leaders apart? You in your job now, you're speaking to leaders day in, day out, you're improving them, but what are the key things you're seeing?
I think it's the human aspect of it. A lot of time when it comes to leadership, we think about diplomas, MBAs, skills, courses, and things like this. I do think that the heart of leadership is how passionate you are, how driven you are, and what type of charisma you have. And if you're exhausted, tired, and overworked, you don't have any charisma. You're just tired and you give orders to people and you get frustrated because it's not fast enough, because they don't understand what you want to say. And so you're losing your power. Leadership for me is really a core work, and there is a strong foundation of knowing why you're here, having a clear vision for the future, either with your organization or with a business if you have a business, and driving people. What drives people is not your skills or your ability to solve problems, it's your ability to make them feel seen and heard. If you can do that, then you're going to be a leader, because people will just gravitate around you. People will want to work with you. People will want to learn from you. And so they will grow with you. And that's really, for me, what set up leaders to great leaders.
It's more the emotional intelligence, understanding the room, because I think, obviously in recruitment, nobody ever calls us if they love their job. And, a lot of people, they don't leave the company, they actually leave their boss.
Yeah.
So I think it is, for aspiring leaders or, current leaders, it is something to think about, because, again, without giving too much away, but when you are speaking to your clients, what are the things you see? Like, is it they're missing the leadership aspect, or is there a common trend that, you see areas that people can develop?
I think it's, as you said it very well, it's never about the job itself. Very rarely people quit their job because they want to quit their job. It's either because of the environment or because they don't know how to create a routine that is serving them. So they end up being overworked and tired and exhausted. And then the only solution they see or they think it is, I want to build my company, be on the beach in Mexico and make money as a freelancer, you know. And that's actually not the answer for a lot of people. Mostly if you are very driven and ambitious, you like the drive. You like, you know, when it's there's always something happening, etc. So you being on the beach and doing nothing, you will hate it. And by the way, to get there, you need to build a business, and that takes a lot of work. So it's never about the work itself, maybe 10% of the time. Mostly it's about the routine that you have created around your job or the type of people and the environment that is within the company. That's mostly why people quit that job.
It's quite, you know, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and people who sell their businesses, a lot of them say it's the worst day of their life because then there's the emptiness of what do I do? You know, some of them end up having alcohol problems, you know, it is that emptiness. So I think you're right. You want to have, you know, the job that keeps you driven. But I think the points you're really trying to zone in on, and I think it's so relevant at the moment with work-life balance. You know, now we're seeing a lot more candidates choosing the job that has a bit of flexibility, not fully remote, but I think it is becoming more and more to the front. And obviously from my side, we look at it from retaining talent. And I think this is something that CFOs or CEOs, that if you want to keep the best people in your business, you need to keep people who have flexibility but are not overworked. And the reality is a lot of people in Dubai in particular can be overworked.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, I think if you want someone to work well and to do a good job, this person needs to feel good, right? And that's again what my former Diamond leader told me from the beginning. He said, it's you, your family, and the business. And only in that way. Because if you're not feeling good, your family is not going to feel good. If you feel that your family is not good and you don't have great relationship, family or friends, it depends on the scenario, then you're not going to perform at your peak at work. And I think we tend to shift that, and mostly in Dubai, I've seen that a lot. You can't expect as a business owner to have your employee to care about your business as much as you do, because this is not their business, right? But you still want them to be motivated, to see a path for them to grow. And as you said, there is a shift happening. The shift is I am no more satisfied with a house, a great career, even if it takes away everything else. This is not success anymore. People are looking for something much deeper. People are looking for a way to grow, a way to have fun, to be motivated. And I think leaders who don't see that, they're missing on a lot of great talents. It's not about taking the extreme and being super flexible with time neither. I'm not really convinced of that. But it's about, you know, trusting more people, giving them a place to grow, a place where we have the same value, a place where they can say when they did a mistake, where they're not scared. And I think that already is a big win.
Because look, again, how I see things is that Dubai, UAE, it's becoming a place that people come now to live for long periods. So gone are the days where employers would treat staff like they're just here for 3 years, they're going to make as much money as possible, and they're going back to France or Mayo or wherever it may be. People are now coming here and saying, we're living here for 10 years, 15 years when my kids go through school. So when they're looking for the next opportunity, or if they're in the job, they are now looking for these, you know, I would say fair requirements to be provided to them. So that's the shift, which, again, leaders in particular, if you don't adjust, and to be very clear, as you said, I'm not here promoting fully remote. I don't believe in that. I do think you need a human interaction to progress in any company. But yeah, it's just creating that environment. And I think that's where people are going to be found out, and employers in particular. So what I would ask you is that if I rang you, maybe I have, who knows, that if you said to me, look, it looks like you're struggling a bit, Connor, what would be some quick wins that, you know, you'd be telling me to maybe try to do to make things a little bit better if I was struggling?
So first of all, I would have you take a test, which I think you did.
I did the test,
because this test is really revealing a lot of stuff that are happening that sometimes we don't really see, or we don't really want to talk about. The people that I work with, usually they don't come to me and say, Lucie, I'm feeling terribly empty. I need your help.
The test is incredible, by the way.
Yeah, that's good then. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. But usually people don't really say that out loud, which I understand. I was exactly in the same boat. But I would have you take the test so I understand better what's going on. And I would encourage you to ask yourself more questions. The first thing that I have implemented for myself, right, when I was looking for my answer, because I didn't know at the time, was the night audit. The night audit is before you close your eyes at night, just play back your day and start asking yourself questions, like simple question. Did I wake up on time or not? Did I like my day or not? What did I like? What did I not like? How did I feel? And what do I want to change? And how can I make tomorrow a bit better? Just that. I do think, I could come with a framework that is life-changing and giving you, some advice, whatever. I think we are all different, and I think we all have different issues. What is missing, and the core of my research is in high performance and how to maintain that, is intention. Intentionality is something that we are missing, and the reason why we end up having a great career and feeling empty. And by intention, I mean the ability to understand why you do what you do. Like, for example, it could be, why are you doing a podcast? Because despite the business strategy, there is something else. So why is that valuable to you? What do you pick? What did you pick that, This type of question, but for your life as well. I think curiosity is something that we lost somehow because we just go with the flow, we just are on autopilot and we have to get things done. And don't get me wrong, it's okay to do that, but it's also okay sometimes to reflect exactly like in business and mostly in finance, right? You look at the results, you look at the P&L, you don't just go and continue. You look at what happened. Where were we out of budgets there? How can we manage better the exceptional event in the future? How can we predict that, why did that happen? So all of that questioning, it's good to bring it into your personal life, because the more you will ask yourself some question, the more aware you're going to be. And awareness is the start of big changes. So that's what I would recommend every night, asking yourself a few questions about your day.
Yeah, because I'm touching on the test. So I did this test with Lucie, and it was very interesting because it really does somehow get the answers, and there's definitely certain aspects without going into it that I'm definitely struggling with, and probably being blurred a bit by the last few months with office moves and a lot of stuff happening in the business. So I guess the answers it gave you out definitely did resonate with me. And it's incredible how answering 103 questions, and it does give you those answers. But it's just, as I said, it just really gives you real-time insight. And for me, actually, I found it incredibly valuable. And it gives you some honest truths, because otherwise, I think you're kidding yourself. I think for a lot of for leaders or CEOs or CFOs in businesses, that they're not really being held accountable for, and they don't get the answers that maybe they need to get. So it's good.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why I use that test, but also because I was there, right? I don't want to dive into a lot of questions, and I believe people are busy, and so they want kind of an answer straight away. The good thing is I'm French, so I think that helps with the honesty, right? But I like providing answer quite fast in that sense. You also mentioned before work-life balance. I don't think that work-life balance is the solution in that case from the beginning, because if you look at the life of someone who has been living, let's say, 20 years in autopilot, if you tell them you have to have a work-life balance, then all of a sudden they're going to spend a lot of time in their personal life, which they don't have, or which is not stimulating for them. So it's going to be even more damaging at that point. So what you want to build is ask yourself question of what is it that you would like to see more, and start building from there. And you don't have to spend a ton of time in your personal life at the beginning, but at least try to build a stimulating personal life. That's what needs to happen.
I think, it's doing things that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing you find as you go through life is the ability to say no to things, because everybody wants your time sometimes. And, maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I would have just said yes to everything and then do the thing and not really enjoy it. And I think that leads to less stimulation in some shape or form. But I think you just need to say, this is what I like doing. And, plan your weeks or months for trying to cover such activities that will keep you happy.
Yeah, that's true. But also as well, again, why can't you say no? Because if you don't say no, it's because it's providing you something. Either you feel in control, either you feel good because you're productive. There's always a reason why we do what we do. And that's really the intention part of it. And the more curious you are about that, the better you will be. Because when you understand that actually you're doing this because, you just think that this is the way to impress the team. And, for you, it gives you a lot of gratification. Once you get rid of this, then you will not have the need to say no. You need to say, yes, excuse me. You will not have that need anymore. So understanding really what is behind, I think it's really key. At that level, we're talking about a high performance level already. Huh?
And then just delving now back into more of the common thing we get sometimes with a lot of leaders here, that they've crazy egos. Like if we have a guy or a girl interview for a role and the feedback is big ego, this person just has, I wouldn't say identity trap, but it's more, speaking about people that their whole identity is their job.
Yeah.
And I imagine this is a lot of the people that you would be having conversations with, but just to get your thoughts really, on that aspect.
Well, the funny thing that I have seen with the Mindset Factor Index, the test that I told you, is the higher rank, the higher title, the less self-esteem.
Yeah.
So, but that is very interesting for me. And I'm very lucky because I am behind the scene, right? With my clients, I work with people who have that great title, that big company, that big team. And I can see the man, because usually it's men, the mind behind it. And I can see how they're doing this because it is their only way to validate their worth. And it's not bad. I mean, I've been there too. And I know it's a very painful place to be because there's a lot of frustration. Of course, you're putting your happiness into the hand of an external environment. So when everything crashes, or when your team is not listening to you, or when things are not going the way you want it to, then it really hurts you, your whole identity. It's not a nice place to be, but it is a reality. A lot of high performers, they are high performers because somehow in their life, whatever has happened, their self-esteem got down. And so their only way to get their own validation, not only the external, but their own validation, is to see themselves growing and be successful. Because if I'm not successful, if I don't have a title, who am I really? Right? Yeah. That's the thing. But if you want to get to the next level of high performance, you need to be your best friend. You need to have your own back. So you can't doubt of your value because of a job title. You cannot put all your value within your career. You need to be able to identify why you're a good person, why you're clever and smart, and what can you bring to the table despite the failure. Because you're going to fail. If you're not failing, you're not high performing. That's not true. Because you the more you will try, the more you grow. Of course, the more you fail. I mean, I'm not inventing this. We can look at every successful person in the world. They will tell you 2 out of 3 I'm failing. So what happens if you're failing and that failure means that you are hurt so much that it's really deep in you? You're going to recover so much slower. So what you want to do is to detach that and to find another source of, validation and worth. And that starts with work on self-esteem. So definitely, I've seen that a lot. And again, intention and working on your mindset is very important for people in that situation.
Yeah, well, look, I'd say it's all about, you only learn lessons when you fail usually.
Sure.
That's the biggest thing. And I think it is the whole mindset of, the more you shoot, the luckier you get. There's many sayings, but I think the reality is, especially with, entrepreneurs or people with businesses, that you have to make mistakes. And if you're not prepared to make the mistakes, I think ultimately your business will fail, because you can't, in life or business, you can't play everything safe.
No.
And even for you're a great example of that, to go from CFO into, coaching, mindset coaching. It was a very brave move, I guess.
And I also dealt with the fact that I didn't even say I was a coach at the beginning because I was ashamed.
Because the title.
Yeah, of course. I was in a room full of investors, business owners, and everyone was like, I work in crypto and I do that and that. And when it was my turn, I'm like, I'm a coach. And, I was judging myself so much at that time. Not because I didn't see the value of coaching, but because I thought that it was much less important than being a CFO.
I'd say, because I went obviously from being an accountant to a recruiter. And I'd similar enough things at one point, I guess, but you just have to get on with it. And I remember when I made the switch, some people said it was so stupid to make that, move from a qualified finance professional to an entry-level recruiter. You have to just get on with it.
But look where you are now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your business and, exceptional people take exceptional roads. And when I say exceptional, it doesn't mean better people. It means people who want to do different things than the norms. And so that's what you did.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I've learned is that you'll never have anybody cutting you who's below you.
That's very true.
It's
even criticizing you. No one will someone who is doing better than you is not going to criticize you.
Yeah.
And
who's just cutting you, who's above you. It's look, what I found is it's the people who make snide remarks or whatever, and it's always going to happen because our business we're very much quite active on LinkedIn, etc. So of course there's going to be people who will criticize, but again, I know these are the people that are, maybe just a few levels below, but the guys who I aspire to, role models, they all respect it. So I think you just have to have that mindset of not getting too emotional.
Absolutely. And if you want to create a brand, I think Gary Vee said that you have to have 80% of people who don't like you and 20 who loves you.
Yeah.
And this is the people that you will do business with. Instead of, being a flat
bland
company that everyone likes and love. Listen, I've done a conference last year called Rich and Happy. And I told everyone that money, title, and status will not make you happy. Obviously, I get a lot of people saying that's not true. You say that because you had money. But this is my opinion, and this is how I built my company. And when now I am in a room with investors or, business owners, and I say, I'm a coach, this is what I do because I believe in what I say. I'm happy, I'm at
peace. But you're passionate. There's energy flowing from you.
People don't even enjoy it.
You could talk all day here, I think.
Yes, I could. But this is because I've been there, right? And I've had that pain that not a lot of people see when you have sacrificed everything in life just to be where you are, and you're realizing that it's not making you happy, and you have that void inside you that feels like you can't feel that. It's a terrible thing. And I want people to know that they are not alone and that there is a solution. The solution is not a next promotion. The solution is not more money. The solution is not a new skill or a diploma. The solution is to start asking yourself the right question. Put your ego on the side. Stop asking people around their opinion and what they feel should be done for you, and start really realizing what is the life that I want to live. I mean, at 90 years old, when you will look at your life, what do you want to see? Do you want to see someone who his whole life has been struggling, being exhausted, never find joy in simple things? Or do you want to see someone that is driven, ambitious, that is a great leader, that people look up to this person, and that is happy? Because that's really the game, right? We have one life, and I don't understand why this is not so much more
out there in the public realm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's not fluff. I mean, there is science. Mindset is not fluff. It's your operating system. And if you want to be that ambitious, if you want to have legacy level, impact in the world, then you will have to have your standard a bit higher than that. You will have to have that type of behavior saying, I believe in what I do, I go for it, I know I'm going to maybe fail, but I know that I want to try it because we have one life, and that's the game.
Yeah, you miss 100% of shots you don't take.
Absolutely. You are an example of that, right? Because you change your career and now you have your own business. And it's not like the thing that we see on internet, quit your job and you'll make $1 million online. It's not that. This is real case studies, because you're here, you're successful, your business is working, and you have been through certainly very hard time. Yeah. But would you, if you have to do it again, would you do it again?
100%, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Because you have no regret. Yeah. And that's what you want to have when you are on your deathbed,
Because the thing I think I was saying to you as well, going through professional pain it's just part of it. Again, if you want to get a business to a certain point, you need to go through a bit of grit.
Exactly.
While if someone goes through personal challenges, through bereavements or illnesses, for me, that's 10 times worse than going through a bit of heartache. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Even at the moment, when I look at the team at Alchemy, I know we've Tiffany here beside me. That I think some of the female staff this month are definitely feeling a bit burnt out. I think Tiffany could confirm that. I think that they're going for a ladies' day out. And for me, I can know myself. I think that's why when we had our call, you could probably sense that I was a little bit not fully on it because times in life there's a bit of blur and you're just fighting to get to the next thing. And the reality is now when I look back, and I had a few with two of the staff this week actually, they pretty much said they were burnt out, and that's probably on me because I didn't identify that, and maybe I was a little bit burnt out. And we haven't had one of the leaders in Abu Dhabi. She said to me last week, we still haven't had a team day out. Now it's nearly May, And that's something that would have happened every month or two in previous years. So, yeah, it's interesting because I think your point and what you're pushing on is that the leaders in the business, if they're not on it, it does trickle down, I think, to the rest of the business. And I think we're probably a case study of that. And hopefully things will get better. But I think it is identifying. But it's just time goes so quick. You know, we're now nearly at the end of April. And then we're into May, and it feels like New Year's was only a few weeks ago. So yeah,
and that's the struggle and the challenges that a lot of leaders have. It is not an easy job, right? But one important job is to take care of yourself because, as you said, your mindset will just.
And to be honest, because like I know I'm harping on about the test that we did, but it really did. When I left the call, I was like, Jesus. That's true. The feedback I've got is actually how I maybe do feel, and it hit me quite hard actually. But then now I see in the business at the moment, you know, we're still going relatively good, but I can see a few challenges with some of the staff, which, you know, maybe they need better guidance or maybe they need love, and maybe I've dropped the ball a bit, and it's just stemmed down. Well, I think if I was like in the best form of my life, they probably would be as well. But it's not, my point is that it's not just a coincidence that I, as the leader, is a little bit, maybe a 6 out of 10 at the moment, 7 out of 10. And then some of the staff, I can feel they're at that level as well. So it's very interesting. And that's why I think for our listeners, especially aspiring leaders or, you know, people that can relate to this, it's a real life actualization to help really.
But also, I really admire what you just did, which is talking about your struggle and being genuine about it. That's, you know, one thing that a lot of leaders would never do because, as you said, they want to portray that picture that everything is fine, that, you know, they are the best, and it's so important to them. I think leadership starts with vulnerability, what you just did and said. I can only commend that because at least you're trying, right? We're not perfect. Yeah. We're going through different stuff, but the communication with your team, the vulnerability and saying those words and saying, I'm trying my best, but I need to understand why are you burned out and what can we do about it, and really implementing things a day together. Is
doing a ladies' day out. So
that's amazing.
Thursday week. I was going to go, but I don't think I'm going to go anymore now.
That's a start, right? But then like working on that and saying, okay, in the future, how can we avoid that situation again? And, you know, being open about it and being vulnerable about it. That's how people will view.
We've two of our team who have children, Bernice and Rudika, and Bernice even just said, you know, I need to see Rudika and just have an afternoon with her. And I think with common ground, because again, everyone's going through different challenges in life. You know, I don't have any kids yet. You know, some of my staff do. Then other people are going through relationships, and there's a lot of things happening because we're quite a diverse team, and that can be for every company, even small companies, big companies. Yeah. You don't know what's going on inside someone's head, you know, especially as a manager, a leader. You know, my staff are naturally going to smile when I say hello to them because I'm the boss. So you don't know that, are they putting this on as a front, or are actually they struggling with something as well? So,
and that's where the leadership comes in, to really create that space where they don't feel they have to smile at you when they don't want to where they can, you know, come to you and tell you what they feel. Of course, you're not a psychotherapist, and that's not our, you know.
It can shrink jobs, though, as a recruiting person, for any listeners that who call me to tell me their problems. But yeah, it's all part of it.
It's part of leadership, right? Because people trust you. I don't think leadership is about operating tasks. You have people and you hire people to do that. Your role is to inspire, motivate, and make sure people grow. That's your role, not, you know, solving the biggest problem that no one can solve, obviously. But still, a big part of leadership is about that. And burnout is never about the work, because it's always because of emotions. Right?
As a Bernice, she won't mind me saying this, but, you know, she's been very overwhelmed.
Yeah,
she's a lot going on, you know. So yeah, I think, as she would admit herself, she was just going through so much all at once, and it just came to a head. And fortunately, she was, you know, we have a very good relationship where she could open up on everything. And then, you know, that was, for me as a leader, you need to, wow, this is an alarm bell here, and you need to do something like that. While otherwise, if your staff are just coming in, smiling, going back to home, then you don't know. if you don't pick it up sometimes.
And again, this is down to the person. You see, the performance cannot happen if the person is not feeling good. And instead of waiting for someone to be burnt out, I would definitely recommend to start today to have a better routine, ask yourself some questions, and really evaluate what type of day you want to have, because you will perform better if you get some rest, if you are in an environment where you can have time and mental space to think and to create. That's it. If you are in survival mode, you're not going to achieve great
Lucie,
stuff.
I think we'll into our office for a week. You can chat to all the
Let's
girls.
do it.
Chat to all the girls.
We'll do the test, right?
Yeah, do the test.
Yeah, let's do the test. That could be fun. That would be my pleasure.
The test would be great. Again, there's lots of golden nuggets here. Is Tiffany smiling? Yeah, Tiffany smiling.
Okay, I'm passing the
you're
test.
passing the test.
We told me before, if Tiffany is not smiling,
if Tiffany's smiling, you're good.
Good job.
But then just building a career that doesn't break traditional success models. What's your views? Building that career. And just thinking about things differently, because we're in a change. Like the reality is, our generation, we're similar age, that we have a younger generation coming through now who think about things completely differently. And I imagine that you may not have clients at Gen Z level yet, but we have this wave of talent coming through who views things completely differently. And this is going to be the point for leaders that, again, trying to work how these guys think in their heads. So
I think they're looking for something deeper in their work. Yeah. And that's the reality of things. We can, I can always quit my company and making a couple of money online. I know some people don't want to believe that, but it is a reality. Sure. If you want to sell something online, you can. You just need to be a bit smart. Maybe you pay $1,000 to get like a course on e-commerce, for example, or stuff like that. You can. If you're smart and dedicated and you believe in what you're doing and it is what you want to do, you can do that. So today, it's not about this is the only company and I need to stay there for 17, 20 years. Yeah. Today, it's like, if I don't like the environment, I can shift and I can go. So what you want to do is create a place where people feel comfortable in being there, where people feel that they can grow, where people feel that you have the same value as they have, and where people feel they can actually have an impact. And I think that's very important for the next generation. My clients are not this generation. They're mostly people who are from 40 to 60 years old, either in transition with retirement, either in transition in life in general. So I do not deal with that, but I deal with the people.
You'll have them coming through soon.
Managing them, yeah. But still, they are telling me that this is happening. And so as a leader, if you are maybe the old generation, if you don't accept that, it's exactly like AI. You have two choices. Either you don't accept it and then you will be left behind very fast. Either you do accept it and then you start working on yourself to make sure that your message come across to these people. And that's emotional intelligence. I understand what this guy is feeling and thinking, and I understand what am I thinking, so I can adapt and I can directly talk to the people. As I said at the beginning of this podcast, it's never about the skills or the good solution that you have. It's about how do you communicate it so this person is going to be motivated and is going to listen to you. And so that is a skill that becomes a necessity in any business for any leaders, because, and in Dubai, we have so many cultures, right?
Yeah,
so
that's the biggest thing.
So many approaches. So this is the biggest tool that you need to master and that you need to understand. But how can you do that if you are exhausted, tired, over busy? You can't. It's just too much. You don't have space in your mind.
There's only so much coffee we can drink.
Exactly, yes. So you can't do that. So that's why it always starts with you. It's not about, my team is not good enough. My team, they don't understand me, whatever. It's about you. Are you in the right place to kind of, being ready to handle those challenges? Are you in a place where you will need to be patient, to be understanding, to have empathy? And this is not fluff. This is performance. This is only how you bring a high-performing team.
It is ultimately energy. And again, I'm looking at myself. It feels like it's like a confession episode for me here. But
that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it's good. Letting it all out here. But it's just... It's your energy levels, of course. As you said, if you're feeling tired, well, why are you feeling tired? Is it because, I'm socializing too much? Is it because I'm doing too much work late? I think, as you said, if you work backwards from things, I think you'll find your answers pretty quickly.
You know what? Just take one task in your week that you think is mandatory and remove it for a week as a challenge and see what changes. usually it doesn't change much.
Yeah.
And as I said also, usually the reason why we overwork in the people that I work with is because what would I do at home? I mean, if I come back at 6 p.m. tonight, what will I do? I will scroll on my phone.
Yeah.
I will watch Netflix. For people who are ambitious and driven, they need to be stimulated a lot. So I don't want to come back to that. So the point is, when you start building a stimulating life, is climb a mountain, go to Croagh and run and have a trail, or find a partner, or cook a Mexican meal with your kids. I don't know, do something different that will pull you to go home and to enjoy the time, or to go to this new hobby that you want, but not a passive hobby where you just scroll or you just don't do anything, something that is challenging you. Because, and again, that's the understanding of who you are as a person. If you're ambitious and driven, you need that.
Procrastinating is the word. Just thinking about doing something, not actually doing something.
You always go to something that you can control. And the thing that you can control is your work. You know how to do your work. You know what is the outcome that you want. You know how to, get there. You know what is the goal. So that's easy to stay there. In your life, if you don't know the goal, you don't know where you're going, you don't have anyone around you, why would you spend time in your personal life? I wouldn't. And I didn't for years. I completely ignore my personal life for that reason. Yeah. So it is very important to be picky with who you are, to make sure that you're doing hobbies and things that really lights you up. And again, I don't see that as fluff. I see that as a fuel, because imagine, what will you do when you are driven, inspired, you had a good night, you feel yourself? Imagine the level of performance that you're going to have compared to the one that you have now. Yeah. It's a game changer.
Well, Lucie, I think we'll have to have you back. I'll have to have you back. I got the time warning there.
I talk a lot, right?
No, but you talk good stuff.
Oh, that's good.
There's other people that talk too much. They talk when they should be listening. So look, we're going to finish on a lighter note.
Yeah.
A few more questions, just quick fire questions, just for the audience to get to know you better as a person. So if you could have a conversation with your younger self, what would you say?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Go through the exact same thing that you have been through. Obviously, that sounds a bit cheesy, maybe.
No, we've never heard that one before.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that because, I think we live what we live for a reason. I went through the depression, the emptiness, the food disorder, all of those stuff. And I went through that, and that made me who I am today. I would never be so confident in my own skin if I wouldn't have done that. So
good.
Nothing at all. Just enjoy. It's going to be hard. Yeah, well done.
C'est bon.
Exactly.
And what's your personal definition of success?
Peace of mind. That's really what I'm looking for. It doesn't matter the place, doesn't matter the people, doesn't matter the job. For me, as long as I am at peace with where I am, that's success to me.
Lucie, look, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. It's been an incredible episode, with so many good insights in there. And I think I'll speak to my big boss, Tiffany, but I think there's a good smile there, so I think we'll be getting you back. So we hope everyone's enjoyed the episode, and make sure you subscribe to our podcast, and we'll see you on our next episode on Mayo for Sam. So
yes,
that's it. Mayo for Mayo. Perfect.
Thank you very much.